I was I was dragging my feet extremely slow on how actually how good that song was, actually just how I felt about the song. And then after you watch it, and to me, I think it took over the weekend, and it actually, realistically, if I'm being honest, it took until the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky game. So in that kind of feel, and I think after what realistically brought me to that point, watching the game and just getting the feel of the game. But then when Angel Reese got on there and did the I just got that dog in me. And when you heard her say that, it just reminds you, and I've seen so many people on social media saying, oh, this is why people who don't get Anthony Edwards don't get Angel Reese, because that moment, one, you're not used to hearing women speak like that at all. Like that, to hear a woman speak like that after a game, it was like, literally, I got that dog in me. You can't teach this. You can't buy this. You just got to have it, and I got it in me. So to hear a woman say that, I was just like, that not like us. And I've seen so many people, I guess, get upset about, especially Drake fans, because I made a video, and of course, if you, especially on social media, if you just randomly catch one video on somebody's page, you don't necessarily know who they like or who they don't like. So you just make a comment, and people's like, man, they just dragging this song. It's just too much, whatever the case may be. But my only thing of it is like, bro, I'm a Drake stan. I really like a lot of his music, but I know now this song is bigger than just a Drake beef. Because literally, like I said, yesterday watching the game, my energy, I'm just so geeked up. I'm super excited. Like, oh my God, Angel Reese is literally balled out of her mind, and the entire world is watching because there's no other sports on. So like, even if you don't like women's basketball, or you're really not into it, like if you watch sports and you just kind of had that itch, you flipping through ESPN, this literally was the only thing on. And I'm sure if you on social media enough, you had some reason to drown. Okay, like, cool, let me check this game out. People keep hyping it up. They keep hyping these two girls up, saying it's a beef, it's a rivalry, or whatever the case may be. Let me just go kind of really tap in. So tapping in, and I'm talking about, she set the stage so huge. And that's why when I sit here and say this song is bigger than just a Drake song, a Drake diss now, it's like even her coming in with the Juneteenth shoes. And the crazy thing is, I watched how a lot of people made a big deal about her shoes the Sunday before. She had the Joker shoes and had the high on the Johnson. People who don't know, Angel Reese is sponsored by Reeboks, and she has basically been having a young man out of Chicago customize her. Basically, the Allen Iverson, I want to say they called the questions, they the lows. It's basically the most popular Allen Iverson shoe, but it's the low-cut version of it. And she's been wearing it. He's been customizing the Jones, and people made a big deal about it when she had the Joker Jones. But I paid attention to how nobody really talked about the Juneteenth Jones. So going into that game, of course, it was literally Juneteenth was Wednesday. Most of y'all probably had off on Wednesday. So like I said, I'm tying all of that into the Kendrick Lamar situation, because you just watch it. Like, I seen people get upset because they was like, oh, why Russell Westbrook and why DeMar DeRozan and all of these people on stage with Kendrick, they from Compton, bro. They're literally all from the same exact neighborhood. When Nipsey Hussle died and Russell Westbrook had that game, I think it was like, he had 20 rebounds, 20 points, and 20 assists. And it was like, and they from the rolling 60s, like all of that kind of just tied in together. So for you to think that Russell Westbrook or James Harden or any of these people who are actually from that area were going to miss out on that, you kind of just don't understand culture. And I seen, it was a video of Academics, it was going viral. He was like crying, he was playing it, and he was like, I can't believe Russell Westbrook and all of them on stage. But people, and it was a video going viral, and we was on Threads joking about it, and I reposted it and said, I never want to be a fan of nobody this much, especially a rapper. Maybe basketball or any form of sports is a little bit different, especially if you gamble. Because I can imagine gambling on my team, and if it's a Super Bowl playoffs, if it's a big game, period, and they lose, excuse me, you be sick. And then I got into a conversation with somebody on there, and the conversation was basically like, if you're supposed to be a media person, they were saying that you shouldn't have no type of bias. And I'm like, to me, the best media personalities have to have some type of bias, because that's where the passion comes from. If you don't have no bias, you can't realistically have no real passion about what you're talking about. Because if you're just like regular news reporting, and this is like, what's the elite news reporter? What's the elite radio personality without no bias and no real personal attachment to whatever they are speaking of? And I felt that way when it comes to just sports in general. Like, whoever your favorite sports announcer is, if it's from Stephen A to Skip Bayless or whoever, you know who their favorite teams are because they speak more passionate about it. And realistically, for that fan base that they probably share a team with, it makes more people want to listen to them. It makes more people relate to them. Or even shit, you can look at it where any home team for any sports team, realistically, it trickles over because that's why you listen to the home team radio. Okay, well, this is the station where they talk about we live in the DC, or so this is when they talk about the Redskins, or whatever. If you're in Baltimore, this is where they talk about the Ravens. You listen to those shows more often because they talk about your team. So I feel like you need some type of bias. Now, that what Academics was doing when he was on the live stream, I would never do that. That to me was like, bro, you were just being ridiculous. Like, Drake music can't really mean that much to you, one, because dog, you sit in the house all day. Like, you don't really have no real women attachments or nothing. I can't tell somebody how to feel, but just from what we see of you via live stream, what people know of your dating experience, Drake music can't mean that much to you for you to sit here and be able to not understand the Not Like Us. And I listen to what I'm saying. I literally, what are you talking about? This happened maybe a month ago. The heat of this beef now probably was almost like a month old now. I came over here and I was defending Drake. I was trying to speak up so highly of him, but I'm listening to that Not Like Us. And I'm telling you, after that game, and shout out to Lizzo, because he texted me, he's like, bro, where your Angel Reese video? Like, you got her up and make a video for her. I'm like, bro, I couldn't make a video in the actual, like, literally as soon as the game was, because that's how excited I was for her, because it was like, I knew the world was watching, and I knew everybody got to see how good I actually already believed it. And that was one of those moments where it's like, and I can't wait for Marcus to get in here, because if we just talking to him on sports, like, if this year, if you actually listen to me, like, I'm gonna kind of listen to Mikey, I'm going to bet. I told y'all about Lamar Jackson early when they last year, when they was going on during the offseason, he was going back and forth about the contract situation. I told y'all what was going to happen with him. He got the MVP. They went to the conference finals. Cool. So if you would have bet money just listening to me, you would have won some money last year on the football season. Basketball may be a little bit off because I'm super LeBron biased. And that's why I said I'm cool with being a stand for who I stand for. But even with the Angel Reese thing, I told y'all literally before the WNBA season started, it was a plus 3,500 too. Now it is literally a plus 600. Dog, I don't necessarily know how many of y'all actually gamble or even be looking into this stuff, bro, but that is a dramatic drop. For it to go from 3,500 to a plus 600, dog, is ridiculous. Like, that kind of realistically don't really happen for real, because they try to kind of almost feel, but again, this is when I was talking to Lizzo yesterday, I'm like, I get it, and I maybe only get upset because I feel like Angel Reese is a black woman, and I do feel like black men or people as a general, we should kind of, when we have the opportunity to defend, especially if it's something only on social media, like, bro, it's nothing to sit here and defend somebody on social media. I'm not saying be in the comment section all day going back and forth with bots and fake pages, but still to kind of just help this woman have some grace. Because people did it, we could tie this into Sha'Carri Richardson as well, because people did it to her when she had her little incident with the weed or whatever the case may be, and people was trolling her, making her, and then she's making everybody and their mother eat their words. And that's my point of sometimes where it's like, I get it, black people, we be cool with the jokes or whatever the case may be, and it's sports. So I'm not sitting here saying everybody got to be an Angel Reese fan, but when you can clear as day see, it's just, oh, this is just absolutely the white media bias, and they just tagging and telling on this girl and trying to paint a narrative for her to be somebody that she's not or who they want her to be. That's, to me, just the black man in me always will defend that, because that to me is just corny, because it's a difference. Like, if we just talking like, you don't have to defend LeBron. LeBron is a grown man. I don't have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's completely different. But we talking about a woman that's 22 years old. I'm going to always get defensive for that. So it may be a little bit different, and my passion for speaking on that will always be tremendously different, because this is still a black woman. I don't never want, to me, it just seemed very hypocritical. And I love to even just get to watch like Stephen A and Shannon Sharp. Like, man, it was smoke. Every dude who was on the Caitlin Clark side all year leading up into this game, or when they was picking just the week before, it was like, oh, the flagrant foul, and they kept using the word jealous and all that. And because realistically, and again, that's why I say I'm not mad at everybody. If you don't watch the WNBA, cool. But my thing of it is, if you don't watch it, then don't hit here and hit me with the takes that I know that you heard from somebody else. And that's what always used to get me upset with Marcus or anybody else who was kind of trying to pick the case. You don't actually watch the games. So you're speaking from whatever you heard somebody on a network that's ran by white people told you to hear. Like, this is the narrative they painted to you. So now this is the only sporting event on TV, and this is on the biggest sports network. No, you had to sit here and actually watch this girl take this girl to hell. Her and a whole team, she literally took their entire soul out the building. And that's what I mean with that Not Like Us. You gotta, and that's why, and then when I was telling people on social, I'm like, I don't never want to argue. I'm not here to argue and debate with bots and white people. I don't want to make y'all agree with me. I'm talking to my people who are just being super misled because you're not paying attention. You don't even care about the game. So if you don't care about the game, just don't talk about it at all. I don't talk about baseball. I don't talk about hockey. Don't talk about tennis. I don't talk about golf. Stuff you don't care about, then just don't talk about it. But don't sit here and try to pile on a black woman because you don't care about it. So the easy thing is, oh, like Caitlin Clark better. And shout outs to Lizzo again I respect somebody who can say, bro, I was dead wrong. I thought this girl was a hater until I actually watched the game, and I literally watched this girl take this whole entire team, put them on her back, and take the soul of the other team. And that's what I'm talking about when I said not like us. I literally, after that game, I ran for 3 hours, and I swear to God, I've never in my life listened to that much Kendrick Lamar, because I'm not hearing the Drake diss part. I'm not listening, like, of course, the certified lover boy, certified pedophile, wop, wop, wop. You hear that little part, of course, but I'm not still is detached from Drake now. Like that, not like us, it means something completely different. And that's why as soon as the game was over, you heard the DJ drop. I'm talking about on ESPN, and the players leaving out, you could hear it in the background. The DJ drop, not like us, and you just hear the whole crowd wop, wop, wop. Man, this is Chicago. They don't care about Kendrick Lamar or Drake. The not like us part does not no longer mean as a Drake diss. And you kind of really didn't get to see that until you seen one, again, when you see that in the sports sense of it. And then when you kind of watch that Amazon thing. And and that's why I love just the way how God works, because you hear so many people. I was kind of like, dang, I don't even necessarily know how to talk about it, because you had heard everybody else already give their praise and their opinion on how great that show was. And absolutely it was. But then you kind of get to see the attachment on how great just that song feel as a black person, to see somebody black actually just win when the odds was up against them. We talking about still rolling off the Juneteenth weekend, and dog Angel Reese literally rose to the occasion. It's not no ifs, ands. You can't even argue it no more. Literally, when I'm telling you, I told y'all the beginning of the season was a plus 3,500. It's a plus 600 now, and she still got like damn near 30 something games to play. So it's not going, and she's literally on a 8-game streak of doubles. And the crazy thing is when you hear people try to, and I seen somebody tweet this, and like, I hate the Steph Curry era of basketball. If you've been listening to this show long enough, you know I hate it. I can't stand it, but I seen other people kind of sit here, and when you watch the game, and a shout out to Skip Bayless, because let's be clear, and I am one of those people who is like, I can't keep even following and seeing people's takes where it's like you bashing this girl, and it's not nothing to do with basketball, because it was that foul last week, or whatever the case may be, and they was just dog piling on Angel Reese. But then again, like I said, Skip Bayless probably had, to me, out of all the sports shows that I listened to today, he had the best takes. Him and what's my man name? Keyshawn Johnson. And Skip even said, he was like, bro, when I heard this girl say she got that dog in it, he was like, oh, I have to start calling the women's basketball the same way I call the NBA, because just what I saw. I seen somebody who literally cut that switch on and was like, I'm not losing today. And I watched somebody else absolutely disappear in a moment. And for people, I'm sure if you know who Skip Bayless is, you know how hard he going LeBron for those type of games where it's like, I disappear when the lights get the brightest. And that's basically what Caitlin Clark did. And when that girl, after the very first game, she said, what do this girl do besides shoot threes? And realistically, if you watch that game, that's what happened. Like literally, she took, I want to say, let me look at this stat line, because my homegirl sent me these Jones. She literally took, what was it? 11 threes. She literally took 11 threes yesterday. She made 5, and that was it. Like that's my thing. She live and die on the 3-point line. And don't get it twisted, she had a great assist game too. But when it came to the fourth quarter, and when I say she disappeared, it was like, what else could you do to kind of help your team? You lost a 15-point lead. You was going into the fourth with a 15-point lead, and you choked it, because you bring nothing else to the table. And I think that's what people kind of realize. And I know a lot of people still kind of want to harbor on that, because it's like, it's easy. To me, that's the easiest thing. If we sit here and say, man, we get 50 people, just random people, be like, hey, can you try to shoot a 3? They do it like, if you go to any basketball game, they just pick random people out of the crowd. Hey, if you can hit this half-court shot, you can win them $10,000 or whatever the case may be. And you see a lot of people miss it, and then you may see one person hit it once in a blue moon, but that's something you can do. I can't pick 50 random people out of anywhere and ask them to, you can't cut that dog on, dog. It's either in you or it's not. And to see it actually live in action, I was just excited. As a fan, I was just like, damn, I'm right. And you love to be right on the national stage. Y'all heard me talk like this when it was the Ravens versus the 49ers on Christmas. Like those moments as a sports fan or somebody, when I always tell Marcus, like, it's cool to have, you got to put your takes on whack. You got to have takes where people can literally and be like, Oh, I heard this already before. I knew this was going to happen. I listened to somebody tell me this was going to happen, and then it happened. And that's what I'm sitting here saying. If you still in your mind think Not Like Us is a Drake song, I told Lotus, and he was, and when I posted, I said, I'm going to talk about, dog, Not Like Us is not just a Drake diss no more. That is a black person's just like theme song right now. When you just literally overcoming the odds of whatever people counted you out and felt like you couldn't do or you wouldn't be able to do, and you get to do it. It's that underdog feeling, because realistically, man, of course, I love Drake like everybody else love Drake. Drake was the megastar. He was the superstar. And that is the anthem that kind of sit here in the underdog one. This is America, bro. Everybody loves the underdog story. If you watch the NFL draft, you listen to any boxing thing, when they talking about Tank and he coming out to the ring, they tell you, but like, oh, he's from Baltimore and the poverty of this, that, and the third, and he had to sleep in shelters. They always paint, and that's something that I pay attention to. And listen to me, when y'all, if for any time when you hear me talk about sports, know that I watch and listen to have commentary from what I'm watching. I'm not just watching just to watch. I'm watching to see what I'm going to talk about. How can I use this talking point from even just the way I'm breaking it down? I'm watching to actually have content. I ain't watching just to watch the game. So it's not, I watch from a different place. But when you literally hear, just go back and watch any NFL draft. That's all they tell you is how poor these people was, how they only came from a single mom. Even with Jason Tatum, and he got a commercial that's going on right now, and he was saying, I'm doing it for my mom. She had to work this many jobs. Everybody wants to sell you the poorest story they possibly can, because that's a part of the American dream. Anything can happen in America. And then that's when you see that little Angel Reese thing. Like, I just love so much to watch how many people had to backtrack, because realistically, I'd rather you be honest and say, hey, yeah, I do work at ESPN, or I do work at this station, and I just ain't really watched enough games. So my takes is only going to be kind of like headline things where it's like almost like shade room commentary, but it's supposed to be about sports. And people, I know it will be disheartening, because you figure, hey, I watch these sports channels and I'm thinking I'm watching it for people who watch the game better than I do, or maybe know an insight about the game that I don't do. But I think realistically, and I've been telling y'all this for a while now, these people just got good jobs. That don't necessarily mean that they watching from a different point of view. And then sometimes when you can tell when that thing is painted, that narrative is painted a lot, and it's a difference when you get to break it. But like I said, shout outs to Angel Reese. Kennedy Carter had a great game. I believe she had how many? She had 23. Angel Reese had 25. Cardosa had 16 and 10 boards. Angel Reese had 25 and 16 boards. Man, Mayberry stunk up the place. And this is one of those things when I was talking last week about, or even just a couple weeks ago when they was about to play the Mystics, and I was like, I wasn't going to the game because, the God play on the Chicago Sky. They just take too many shots. Perfect example. Angel Reese literally only took 12 shots the whole entire game. Mayberry shot 10 threes. She was 1 from 10 from the three-point line, and she took 14 regular field goals. So she literally shot the ball 24 times. Angel Reese only shot 12. This girl had Mayberry had 6 points. Angel Reese had 25. That's my point of just, this is your God, and they just jacking up the ball. And that was kind of getting frustrated. So you got to actually see the difference between somebody who can kind of almost dominate their own stats if I'm Caitlin Clark, because I got the ball in my hand more often, than somebody where it's just like I'm kind of, my gods are just jacking up bad shots. And that was the perfect example. So I am glad that the rest of the world actually got to see just that much of just how those two teams are totally different, but the better player just showed you they was the better player. And I just pick whatever your favorite sports, and please just go to their Twitter page. And that's what I love about Black Twitter. Black Twitter ain't gonna let you know nothing, because Stephen A. Smith, let's be clear, Stephen A. Smith is about to get that bag, or trying to get that bag. ESPN offers Stephen A. Smith $18 million a year. And I'm not gonna lie, I was like, oh, this is why Stephen A. be walking and talking and acting as arrogant as he do, though. To make $18 million a year to talk about sports is probably every sports fan's dream, because that's damn near almost like you was a professional athlete yourself. And he declined because he said he wanted $25 million. So I'm not mad at Stephen A. for sitting here walking it like he talking and smelling himself the way he do, but ain't nothing better than watching black women and black men join together and sit here. Absolutely, dog. Shannon Sharp was in shambles yesterday. He was tweeting for it to save his life. What you mean? I wore Angel Reese's varsity jacket on my nightcap show. Did you miss that episode? And niggas was like, bro, nobody care about you wearing no jacket, dog. We heard you on First Take, and you ain't defend this girl the way you supposed to. Now you sit here trying to call out her stats and tell me what an amazing game we just watched. Like, niggas ain't trying to hear that, dog. You could have rolled for this girl. She literally 8 games in a row, doubles, and not the Jason Kidd shit. And y'all know I say that all the time, even when I make my videos about Angel Reese. I'm not talking about 10 points and 10 rebounds, bro. She is literally right now, damn near the last couple of games, she almost going to be literally like 15 and 15. She's literally only behind Angel Wilson. And real quick, when we can get off of sports in 2 seconds. Sunday game was for the culture. Thursday game, when they played the Las Vegas Aces, I promise you that's going to be the game that she's going to solidify herself as a real live WNBA star. And like I said, I know most of y'all haven't watched enough games, so you don't understand. And I always tell you, just all you got to do is Google the girl highlights. She don't have a highlight on nobody who ain't a Hall of Famer. So I don't hope you sit here and think that when she go up against the Las Vegas Aces, ain't going to be no back down, dog. She gonna know that's the time for her to pipe up. Remember when she's literally, you talking about the other team that was in the championship, the Las Vegas Aces won. The person who won the MVP last season in the WNBA was Breanna Stewart. And shout out to Breanna Stewart. You look crazy thing is some people, why people always be like, damn, why do white people love Caitlin Clark so much? Have you ever heard Breanna Stewart talk? One, her name is Breanna Stewart. A nickname is Bree. Think about Breanna. Breanna is a black woman's name, dog. For a white woman to have a goddamn name is Breanna, I'm not gonna lie to you. Her parents kind of set her up to kind of be almost a nigga without people knowing. Nickname Stewie. When she talks, she sounds like, if you close your eyes and I just sit here and play a clip of her talking, it's going to sound like a black woman. She's a gay white woman. You know what I'm saying? So I understand. I'm not mad at middle of America for the reason why they ride for Caitlin Clark. I get it because I pay attention and I understand stereotypes. I get it. I tell y'all all the time, even when it comes to the Trump people and how heavy they are in the Bible and this, that, and the third, I understand why a lot of middle of America rides for Caitlin Clark and don't ride for some of them. Because is Caitlin Clark better than Breanna Stewart? Ain't no way in goddamn hell. But again, this woman is a white woman who can boogie like a goddamn dude. And her name is Breanna. I'm not a person listening. If I tell you somebody's name is Breanna, you're gonna think it's a black girl from somewhere wherever. Pick a hood in America, you're gonna think that's where she from. This is a white girl, a tall white woman. So again, shout out to Breanna Stewart. But again, what I was saying was, one of Angel Reese's first games, was a preseason game. She went to the Met Gala on her birthday, whatever the case may be. She literally had to play the Liberty. She smoked that boots. So all I'm sitting here saying is, please don't sit here and think that this girl gonna sit here Thursday gonna come up and she gonna back down from that showdown. I promise you. Sunday she did it for the culture. On Thursday, when it's gonna be on Amazon Prime, I absolutely promise you. I'm not sitting here saying that the Sky gonna win. I ain't saying they're gonna lose neither, but I'm telling you one thing: you can bet your bottom goddamn dollar is Angel Reese gonna come to play. So, like I said, shout outs to Angel Reese. That game was, I'm still on that high. I'm not gonna lie to you. I literally ran for like 2 hours and 30 minutes. I literally have never, I'm so scared that I played so much that Not Like Us. I know when the year come up, I don't unless it's a hit record just come out sometime for the next 6 months. I know for a fact it's not going to be a song that I'm going to play more than Not Like Us. So my Apple wrap up for this year, 9 times out of 10, Kendrick Lamar will be the #1 artist, and 9 times out of 10, the #1 song. Because I cannot even imagine listening to a song as much as I listened to Not Like Us yesterday. Because that was just an emotional thing, and that's when I sit here and say, that's the difference. That is why that is no longer just a Drake diss song. That song is just like, it's a black theme song right now. When you hear that, like, wop, 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 I couldn't get that out of my head, even if I tried to. And I swear to God, I was trying to. But even seeing just, when we talking about going back into that, like that cut of when the cameraman just hit the angles, and like you could just, that was so perfect to even use on social media yesterday. And it was just like, I remember I literally kept just copying and pasting and posting it on every platform in the comment section. Oh, this is for Angel Reese and Angel Reese only. Big Reese F them up. Wop, wop, wop. I swear to God, I wish I really was that technical, sir. The way they be doing that little Uzi joint when he walked out and they be putting different people on that body now, or how they doing with the Chris Brown joint now on TikTok. I swear to God, I wish I knew how to do that for Angel Reese and that Kendrick Lamar joint, because that shit goes absolutely perfect with just that game and that response. So again, to all the men who was listening, you've been listening, and just listen to what I tell you. Niggas told me that Angel Reese was a role player. Hey, dog, I swear to, I'm going to make a cash app, and I just want niggas to start cash apping me when you question the shit that I say. Just apology, like, Mikey, you was right. I was trying to give you a pushback. You shouldn't give me pushback on certain. I don't talk about nothing that I ain't passionate about, or nothing that I don't spend hours and hours on paying attention to. I don't just think about the shit I don't. It's a million things going daily on the world. I don't talk about them because if I don't care about it and I can't give you this level of conversation, I'm not going to talk about it. So for you to sit here, it's trying to tell me this was a role player. Again, shout out to Keyshawn Johnson, because Keyshawn Johnson did say a great point, and I'm done on the sports part. He literally was like, dog, the crazy thing is, and why the betting odds was so crazy, because us as the media push Caitlin Clark and we didn't push Angel Reese. And then Skip Bayless even chimed in and he said the crazy thing is we probably should have pushed Angel Reese because her off the court game is probably even better than her on the court game. And for people who don't know what that means is, dog, go to this girl post. She don't post nothing that ain't a paid post. Her endorsement game is OD. Yeah, it's not the I guess the quote unquote traditional basketball stuff, but she ain't doing no Fashion Over ads. Her Jones is like some big name brand stuff, like some top designer situations. So again, what I'm telling you, and I appreciate it when Keyshawn Johnson said that, and he would just end it. But for men, I think a lot of men were so enamored by that conversation. Her very first words out of her mouth was, "I'm a dog," and you can't teach that. If for any man who paid, and that's what I paid attention to, most men were so hung up and so amazed. That's how she addressed herself, because women just don't do that. Like, that's not a word or a term, because men be even scared to even say that when they talking about women, because you don't want it, because of course, you know, the female dog and the B word and stuff like that. So you kind of be very conscious on how you address these women and the verbiage that you use about them. So to hear her say that, they was in awe and they were excited. Again, I can't even apologize, because I feel like if you listen to this show enough, you ain't nowhere in hell Angel Reese played that game and you thought I was coming in here to start this show any other goddamn way. I do like the way that I spent it on the Kendrick Lamar thing, and that is absolutely sometimes why I do believe I'm just one of the greatest of all time to sit here and get on one of these microphones. So we're going to switch these topics and get into some women conversations, and we can get into that